Hi, I'm Peter Burris and welcome to another digital community event. As we do with all digital community events, we're going to start off by having a series of conversations with real thought leaders about a topic that's pressing to today's enterprises as they try to achieve new classes of business outcomes with technology. At the end of that series of conversations, we're going to go into a crowd chat and give you an opportunity to voice your opinions and ask your questions. So stay with us throughout. So what are we going to be talking about today? We're going to be talking about the challenges that business face as they try to apply AI, ML, and new classes of analytics to their very challenging, very difficult, but nonetheless very value-producing outcomes associated with data. The challenge that all these businesses have is that often you spend too much time in the infrastructure and not enough time solving the problem. And so what's required is new classes of technology and new classes of partnerships and business arrangements that allow for us to mask the underlying infrastructure complexity from data science practitioners so that they can focus more time and attention on building out the outcomes that the business wants and a sustained business capability so that we can continue to do so. Once again, at the end of this series of conversations, stay with us so that we can have that crowd chat and you can again ask your questions, provide your insights, and participate with the community to help all of us move faster in this crucial direction for better AI, better ML, and better analytics. So the first conversation we're going to have is with Anant Chittamanetti. Anant's the Vice President of Products at Blue Data. Anant, welcome to theCUBE.
Hi Peter, it's great to be here. I think the topic that you just outlined is a very fascinating and interesting one. Over the last 10 years, data and analytics have been used to create transformative experiences and drive a lot of business growth. You look at companies like Uber, Airbnb, and Spotify, practically every industry is being disrupted. And the reason why they're able to do this is because data is in their DNA. It's their key asset, and they've leveraged it in every aspect of their product development to deliver amazing experiences and drive business growth. And the reason why they're able to do this is they've been able to leverage open source technologies, data science techniques, and big data, fast data, all types of data to extract that business value and inject analytics into every part of their business process. Enterprises of all sizes want to take advantage of that same assets and that the new digital companies are taking and drive digital transformation and innovation in their organizations. But there's a number of challenges. First and foremost, if you look at the enterprises where data was not necessarily in their DNA, and to inject that into their DNA is a big challenge. The executives, the executive branch definitely wants to understand where they want to apply AI, how to kind of identify which use cases to go after. There is some recognition coming in. They want faster time to value, and they're willing to invest in that.
And they want to focus more on the actual outcomes they seek as opposed to the technology selection that's required to achieve those outcomes.
Absolutely, I think it's a boardroom mandate for them to drive new business outcomes, new business models, and but I think there is still some level of misalignment between the executive branch and the data worker community, which they're trying to upgrade with the new age data scientist, the AI developer, and then you have IT in the middle who has to basically bridge the gap and enable the digital transformation journey and provide the infrastructure, provide the capabilities.
So we've got a situation where people readily acknowledge the potential of some of these new AI, ML, big data related technologies, but we've got a mismatch between the executives that are trying to do evidence-based management, drive new models, the IT organization who's struggling to deal with data first technologies, and data scientists who are few and far between and leave quickly if they don't get the tooling that they need. So what's the way forward? That's the problem. How do we move forward?
Yeah, so I think I think we have to double click into some of the problems, right? So the data scientists, they want to build a tool chain that leverages the best in class open source technologies to solve the problem at hand. And they want to be able to compile these tool chains, they want to be able to apply and create new algorithms and operationalize and do it in a very iterative cycle. It's a continuous development, continuous improvement process, which is at odds with what IT can deliver, which is they have to deliver data that is dispersed all over the place to these data scientists. They need to be able to provide infrastructure, which today they're not. There's an impedance mismatch. It takes them months, if not years, to be able to make those available, make that infrastructure available. And last but not the least, security and control. It's just fundamentally not the way they've worked, where they can make data and new tool chains available very quickly to the data scientists. And the executives, it's all about faster time to value. So there's a little bit of an expectation mismatch as well there. And so those are some of the fundamental problems. And there's also reproducibility. Like once you've created an analytics model, to be able to reproduce that at scale, to be then able to govern that and make sure that it's producing the right results is fundamentally a challenge.
Auditability of that process?
Absolutely, auditability, and in general, being able to apply this sort of model for many different business problems so you can drive outcomes in different parts of your business. So there's a huge number of problems here. And so what I believe and what we've seen with some of these larger companies, the new digital companies that are driving business value, is they have invested in a unified platform where they've made the infrastructure invisible, whether by leveraging cloud technologies or containers, and essentially made it such that the data scientists don't have to worry about the infrastructure. They can be a lot more agile. They can quickly create the tool chains that work for the specific business problem at hand, scale it up and down as needed, be able to access data where it lies, whether it's on-prem, whether it's in the cloud, or whether it's a hybrid model. And so that's something that's required from a unified platform where you can do your rapid prototyping, you can do your development, and ultimately the business outcome and the value comes when you operationalize it and inject it into your business processes. So I think fundamentally this kind of a unified platform is critical, which I think a lot of the new age companies have, but is missing with a lot of the enterprises.
So a big challenge for the enterprise over the next few years is to bring these three groups together, the business, data science world, and infrastructure world, or others to help with those problems and apply it successfully to some of the new business challenges that we have.
Yeah, and I would add one last point is we are on this continuous journey. As I mentioned, this is a world of open source technologies that are coming out from a lot of the large organizations out there, whether it's your Googles and your Facebooks, and so there is an evolution in these technologies, much like we've evolved from big data and data management to capture the data. The next sort of phase is around data exploitation with artificial intelligence and machine learning type techniques. And so it's extremely important that this platform enables these organizations to future-proof themselves. So as new technologies come in, they can leverage them for delivering exponential business value. Deliver
value now, but show a path to deliver value in the future as all of these technologies and practices evolve.
Absolutely.
Excellent. All right, Anant Chittamanetti, thanks very much for giving us some insight into the nature of the problems that enterprises face and some of the way forward. We're going to be right back and we're going to talk about how to actually do this in a second.
Introducing Blue Data Epic, the leading container-based software platform for distributed AI, machine learning, deep learning, and analytics environments, whether on-prem, in the cloud, or in a hybrid model. Data scientists need to build models utilizing various stacks of AI, ML, and DL applications and libraries. However, installing and validating these environments is time-consuming and prone to errors. Blue Data provides the ability to spin up these environments on demand. The Blue Data Epic App Store includes best-of-breed, ready-to-run Docker-based application images like TensorFlow and H2O driverless AI. Teams can also add their own images to provide the latest tools that data scientists prefer and ensure compliance with enterprise standards. They can use the Quick Launch button, which provides pre-configured templates with the appropriate application image and resources. For example, they can instantly launch a new sandbox environment using the template for TensorFlow with a Jupyter notebook. Within just a few minutes, it'll be automatically configured with GPUs and easy access to their data. Users can launch experiments and make GPUs automatically available for analysis. In this case, the H2O environment was set up with one GPU. With Blue Data Epic, users can also deploy endpoints with the appropriate runtime, and the inference runtimes can use CPUs or GPUs. With the container-based Blue Data platform, you can deploy fully configured distributed environments within a matter of minutes, whether on-prem, in the public cloud, or in a hybrid architecture. Blue Data was recently acquired by Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, and now HPE and Blue Data are joining forces to help you on your AI journey. To learn more, visit www.bluedata.com.
And we're back. I'm Peter Burris, and we're continuing to have this conversation about how businesses are turning experience with the problems of advanced analytics and the solutions that they seek into actual systems that deliver continuous ongoing value and achieve the business capabilities required to make possible these advanced outcomes associated with analytics, AI, and ML. And to do that, we've got two great guests with us. We've got Kumar Srikanti, who's the co-founder and CEO of Blue Data. Kumar, welcome back to theCUBE.
Thank you. It's nice to be here, back again.
And Kumar, you're being joined by a customer. Ramesh T. Garajan is the executive director of the advisory board company, which is part of Optum now. Ramesh, welcome to theCUBE.
Great to be here.
All right, so Kumar, let's start with you. I mentioned up front this notion of turning technology and understanding into actual business capabilities to deliver outcomes. What has been Blue Data's journey along to make that happen?
Yeah, it all started 6 years ago, Peter. It was a bold vision and a big idea, and no pun intended, on big data, which was an emerging market then. And as everybody knows, the data was enormous, and there was a lot of innovation around the periphery, but nobody was paying attention to how to make the big data consumable in enterprise. And I saw an enormous opportunity to make this data more consumable in the enterprise and to give a cloud-like experience with the agility and elasticity. So our vision was to build a software infrastructure platform like VMware, especially focused on data-intensive distributed applications. And this platform will allow enterprises to build cloud-like experience both on enterprise as well as on hybrid clouds, so that it paves the journey for their cloud experience, right? So I was very fortunate to put together a team and find good partners like Intel. So that actually is the genesis for the Blue Data. So if you look back in the last 6 years, big data itself has went through a lot of evolution. And so the marketplace and enterprises have gone from offline analytics to AI ML based workloads that are actually giving them predictive and prescriptive analytics. What Blue Data has done is, by making the infrastructure invisible, by making the tool set completely available as the tool set itself is evolving, and in the process we actually created so many game-changing software technologies. For example, we are the first end-to-end containerized enterprise solution that gives you distributed applications. And we have built a technology called DataTab that provides compute data separation so that you don't have to actually copy the data, which is a boon for enterprises. We're also actually built a multi-tenancy so that the enterprises can run multiple workloads on the same data. And Ramesh will tell you in a second here, in the healthcare enterprise, the multi-tenancy is such a very important element of it. And finally, we also actually contributed to many open source technologies, including we have a project called Cube Director, which actually is around Kubernetes and how to run stateful workloads on Kubernetes, which we have actually very happy to see that people like customers like Ramesh are using the Blue Data.
Well, it sounds like quite a journey, and obviously you've intercepted companies like the advisory board company. So Ramesh, a lot of enterprises have mastered or understood how to create data lakes with Hadoop, but then found that they still weren't able to connect to some of the outcomes that they sought. Is that the experience that you had?
Right. To be precise, that's one of the kind of problems we have. It's not just the data lake that we need to be able to do the workflows and other things, but we also, being a traditional company, being in the business for a long time, we have a lot of data assets that are not part of this data lake. We are finding it hard to, how do we get the data getting them and putting them in a data lake is a duplication of work. We are looking for some kind of solutions that will help us to garnish or garner the benefits of leaving the data alone, but still be able to get into it.
This is where your data
This is where we were looking for things, and then I was lucky and fortunate to run into Kumar and his crew in one of the Hadoop conferences, and then they demonstrated how it can be done. So immediately hit upon it's a big hit with us, and then we went back and then did a POC, very quickly adopted the technology. And that is also one of the benefits of adopting this technology is the level of containerization they are doing. It is helping me to address many needs of my data analysts, the data engineers, and the data scientists. So I'm able to serve all of them, which otherwise wouldn't be possible for me with just a plain vanilla Hadoop implementation.
So it sounds as though the partnership with Blue Data has allowed you to focus on activities and problems and challenges above the technology so that you can actually start bringing data science, business objectives, and infrastructure people together. Have I got that right?
Absolutely. So Blue Data is helping me to tie them all together and provide an excess value to my business. We being in the healthcare, the importance is we need to be able to look at a large data set over a period of time in order to figure out how a patient health journey is happening. That is very important so that we can figure out the ways and means in which we can lower the cost of healthcare and also provide insights to the physician. They can help get people better at health.
So we're getting great outcomes today, especially around, as you said, that patient journey, where all the constituents can get access to those insights without necessarily having to learn a whole bunch of new infrastructure stuff. But presumably, you need more. We're talking about a new world, I think you mentioned Kumar up front, talking about a new world,
Changes.
AI, ML, a lot of changes. A lot of our enterprise customers are telling us it's especially important that they find companies that not only deliver something today, but demonstrate a commitment to sustain that value delivery process, especially as the whole analytics world evolves. Are you experiencing that as well?
Yes, we are experiencing, and one of the great advantages of the platform, Blue Data platform, that gave me is ability to add the new functionality, be it the TensorFlow, be it the H2O, or be it the RStudio, anything that I needed. I call them, they give me the images that are plug and play, just put them, and all the plumbing is practically transparent. Nobody need to know how it is achieved. Now, in order to get to the next level of the predictive and prescriptive analytics, it is not just you having the data. You need to be able to have a curated data asset process on top of a platform that will help you to get the data scientists to make you. One of the biggest challenges, data scientists not able to get their hands on data. Blue Data platform gives me the ability to do it and ensure all the security needs and all the compliances with the various other regulatory compliances we need to make.
Kumar, congratulations.
Thank
Sounds
you.
like you got a happy customer here.
Thank you.
But one of the challenges that every entrepreneur faces is how do you scale the
Yeah, I know.
business? So talk to us about where you are and the decisions that you made recently to
Yeah.
achieve that.
As an entrepreneur, when you start a company, odds are against you, right? You're always worried about, right? You make so many sacrifices yourself and your team and all that. But the customer is the king. The most important thing for us to find satisfied customers like Ramesh. And so we were very happy. And Blue Data was very successful in finding that customer because I think, as you pointed out, as Ramesh pointed out, we provide that clean solution for the customer. But as you go through this journey as a co-founder and CEO, you always worry about how do you scale to the next level. So we had partnerships and with many companies, including HPE, and we found when this opportunity came in front of me with myself and my board, we saw this opportunity of combining the forces of Blue Data's satisfied customers and innovative technology and the team with HPE's brand name, their world-class service, their investment in R&D, and they have a very large list of enterprise customers. We think putting these two things together provides that next journey in the Blue Data's innovation and Blue Data's customers.
Excellent. So once again, Kumar Srikanti, co-founder and CEO of Blue Data, and Ramesh Tigarajan, who's the executive director of the advisory board company and part of Optum. I want to thank both of you for being on theCUBE.
Thank you.
Great
Thank you.
conversation.
Great to be here.
Thank you.
Now let's hear a little bit more about how this notion of bringing Blue Data and HPE together is generating new classes of value that are making things happen today, but are also going to make things happen for customers in the future. And to do that, we've got Dave Vellante, who's with SiliconANGLE Wikibon, joined by Patrick Osborne, who's with HPE in our Marlborough studio. So Dave, over to you.
Thanks, Peter. We're here with Patrick Osborne, who's the Vice President and General Manager of Big Data and Analytics at Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. Patrick, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
All right, so we heard from Kumar. Let's hear from you. Why did HPE acquire Blue Data?
So if you think about it from three angles, platform, people, and customers, right? Great platform, built for scale, addressing a number of these new workloads in big data analytics and certainly AI. The people that they have are amazing, right? Great engineering team, awesome customer success team of data scientists, right? So, all the folks that have some really, really great knowledge in this space. So they're going to be a great addition to HPE. And also on the customer side, great logos, major Fortune 5 customers in the financial services vertical, healthcare, pharma, manufacturing, so a huge opportunity for us to scale that within the HPE context.
Okay, so talk about how it fits into your strategy, and specifically, what are you going to do with it? What are the priorities? Can you share some roadmap?
Yeah, so you can take a look at HPE's strategy. We talk about hybrid cloud and specifically edge to core to cloud. And the common theme that runs through that is data-driven enterprises. So for us, we see Blue Data Epic Platform as a way to help our customers quickly deploy these new Mode 2 applications that are fueling their digital transformation. So we have some great plans. We're going to certainly invest in all the functions, right? So we're going to do a force multiplier on not only on product engineering and product delivery, but also go-to-market and customer success. We're going to come out in our business day one with some really good reference architectures with some of our partners like Cloudera, H2O. We've got some very scalable building block architectures to marry up the Blue Data platform with our Apollo systems. For those of you who've seen that in the market, we've got our Elastic platform for analytics for customers who run these workloads. Now you'll be able to virtualize those in containers. And we'll have, we're going to be building out a big services practice in this area. So a lot of customers often talk to us about, we don't have the people to do this, right? So we're going to bring those people to you as HPE through Point Next. Advisory services, implementation, ongoing help with customers. So it's going to be a really fantastic start.
Apollo, as you mentioned Apollo, I think of Apollo sometimes as a HPC, high performance computing, and we've had a lot of discussion about how that's sort of seeping into mainstream. Yep. Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we know that a lot of our customers have traditional workloads. They're on the path to almost completely virtualizing those, right? But where a lot of the innovation is going on right now is in this Mode 2 world, right? So your big data and analytics pipeline is getting longer. You're introducing new experiences on top of your product, and that's fueling, essentially commercial HPC. And now that folks are using techniques like AI, modeling, inference to make those services more scalable, more automated, we're starting to bring in these platforms, these scalable architectures like Apollo.
So it sounds like your roadmap has a lot of integration plans
Yep.
across the HPE portfolio. We certainly saw that with Nimble. But Blue Data was working with a lot of different companies. Yep. Its software, is the plan to remain open, or is this an HPE thing?
Yeah, we absolutely want to be open. So we know that we have lots of customers that choose. So HPE is all about hybrid cloud, right? And that has a couple different implications. We want to talk about your choice of on-prem versus off-prem. So Blue Data has a great capability to run some of these workloads. It essentially allows you to do separation of compute and storage, right, in the world of AI and analytics. And we can run some of that compute on-prem, we can run it off-prem as well in the public cloud, but then we also have choice for customers, any customer's private cloud. So that means they want to run on other infrastructure besides HPE. We're going to support that. We have existing customers that do that. We're also going to provide infrastructure that marries the software and the hardware together with frameworks like InfoSight that we feel will be a much better experience for the customers, but will absolutely be open and absolutely have choice.
All right, what about the business impact? Take the customer perspective, what can they expect?
So I think from a customer perspective, we're really just looking to accelerate deployment of AI in the enterprise, right? And that has a lot of implications for us. We're going to have very scalable infrastructure for them. We're going to be really focused on this very dynamic AI and ML application ecosystems through partnerships and support within the Blue Data platform. We want to provide a SaaS experience, right? So whether that's GPUs or accelerators as a service, analytics as a service. We really want to fuel innovation as a service. We want to empower those data scientists. They're really hard to find. They're really hard to retain within your organization. So we want to unlock all that capability, and really we want to focus on innovation of the customers.
Yeah, and they spend a lot of time wrangling data, so you're really going to simplify that with the cloud SaaS model. Patrick, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right, Peter, back to you in Palo Alto.
And welcome back. I'm Peter Burris, and we've been talking a lot in the industry about how new tooling, new processes can achieve new classes of analytics, AI, and ML outcomes within a business. But if you don't get the people side of that right, you're not going to achieve the full range of benefits that you might get out of your investments. Now, to talk a little bit about how important the data science practitioner is in this equation, we've got two great guests with us. Nanda Vijayadayev is the Chief Data Scientist of Blue Data. Welcome to theCUBE.
Thank you, Peter. Happy to be here.
Ingrid Burton is the CMO and Business Leader at H2O.ai. Ingrid, welcome to theCUBE.
Thank you so much for having us.
So, Nanda, let's start with you. Having a nice platform, very, very important, but how does that turn into making the data science practitioner's life easier so they can deliver more business value?
Yeah, thank you. It's a great question. I think end of the day for a data scientist, what's most important is, did you understand the question that somebody asked you? What is expected of you when you deliver something? And then you go about finding, what do I need for that? I need data, I need systems. And I need to work with people, the experts in the process, to make sure that the hypothesis I'm doing is structured in a nice way where it is testable, it's modular, and I have that way for them to go back to, show my results, and keep doing this in an iterative manner. That's the biggest thing, because the satisfaction for a data scientist is when you actually take this and make use of it, put it in production, right? To make this whole thing easier, we definitely need some way of bringing it all together. Right? That's really where, especially compared to the traditional data science where everything was monolithic, it was one system, there was a very set way of doing things, but now it is not so. With the growing types of data, with the growing types of computation algorithms that's available, there's a lot of opportunity, and at the same time there's a lot of uncertainty. So it's really about putting that structure, and it's really making sure you get the best of everything and still deliver the results. That is the focus that all data scientists strive for.
So and especially the data scientist wants to operate in the world of uncertainty relative to the business question and reducing that uncertainty and not deal with the underlying uncertainty associated with the infrastructure.
Absolutely, absolutely. As a data scientist, a lot of time we used to spend in the past about, where is the data? Then the question was, what data do you want? I'll give it to you. Because the data always came in a nice structured row column format, it had already lost a lot of context of what we had to look for. So it is really not about, it's really not about going back to systems that are pre-built or pre-processed. It's getting access to that real raw data. It's getting access to the information as it came, so you can actually make the best judgment of how to go forward with it.
So you've described a world where business, technology, and data science practitioners are working together, but let's face it, there's an enormous amount of change in the industry, and quite frankly, a deficit of expertise, and I think that requires new types of partnerships, new types of collaboration, a real ecosystem approach. And Ingrid, I want to talk about what H2O.ai is doing as a partner of Blue Data HPE to ensure that you're complementing these skills in pursuit or in service to the customer's objectives.
Absolutely, thank you for that. So, as Nanda described, data scientists want to get to answers. And what we do at H2O.ai is we provide the algorithms, the platforms for data scientists to be successful. So when they want to try and solve a problem, they need to work with their business leaders, they need to work with IT, and they actually don't want to do all of the heavy lifting. They want to solve that problem. So what we do is we do automatic machine learning platforms. We do that by optimizing algorithms and doing all the a lot of the heavy lifting that novice data scientists need, and help expert data scientists as well. I talk about it as algorithms to answers and actually solving business problems with predictions. And that's what machine learning is really all about. But really what we're seeing in the industry right now, and Blue Data is a great example of kind of taking away some of the hard stuff away from the data scientists and making them successful. So working with Blue Data and HPE, making us together really solve the problems that businesses are looking for, it's really transformative. And we've been through like the digital transformation journey. All of us have been through that. We are now what I would term an AI transformation of sorts. And businesses are going to the next step. They had their data, they got their data, infrastructure is kind of seamlessly working together, the clusters and containerization, that's very important. Now what we're trying to do is get to the answers, and using automatic machine learning platforms is probably the best way forward.
That's still hard stuff, but we're trying to get rid of data science practitioners focusing on hard stuff that doesn't directly deliver value.
It doesn't deliver anything for them, right?
Yeah.
They shouldn't have to worry about the infrastructure. They should worry about getting the answers to the business problems they've been asked to solve.
So let's talk a little bit about some of the new business problems that are going to be able to be solved by these kinds of partnerships between Blue Data and H2O.ai. Let's start, Nanda, what gets you excited when we think about the new types of business problems that customers are going to be able to solve?
Yeah, I think it is really, the question that comes to you is not filtered through someone else's lens, right? Someone is trying an optimization problem, someone is trying to do a new product discovery. So all this is based on a combination of both data-driven and evidence-based, right? For us as a data scientist, what excites me is that I have the flexibility now that I can choose the best of the breed technologies. I should not be restricted to what is given to me by an IT organization or something like that. But at the same time, in an organization, for things to work, there has to be some level of control. So it is really having this type of environments or having some platforms where there is a team that can work on the control aspect, but as a data scientist, I don't have to worry about it. I have my flexibility of tools of choice that I can use. Right? At the same time, when you talk about data, security is a big deal in companies, and a lot of times data scientists don't get access to data because of the layers and layers of security that they have to go through. Right? So the excitement and the opportunity for me is if someone else takes care of the problem, just tell me where is the source of data that I can go to. Don't filter the data for me, don't already structure the data for me, but just tell me it's an approved source, right? Then it gives me more flexibility to actually go and take that information and build. So having those controls taken care of well before I get into the picture as a data scientist, it makes it extremely easy for us to focus on, to her point, focus on the problem, right? Focus on accessing the best of the breed technology, and give back and have that interaction with the business users on an ongoing basis.
So especially focus on speed to value, so that you're not messing around with a bunch of underlying infrastructure. Governance remaining in place so that you know what are the appropriate limits of using the data, with security that is embedded within that entire model without removing fidelity out of the quality of the data.
Absolutely.
Would you agree with those?
I totally agree with all of the points that she brought up, and we have joint customers in the market today that are solving very complex problems. We have customers in financial services, joint customers there. We have customers in healthcare that are really trying to solve today's business problems. And these are everything from how do I give new credit to somebody? How do I know what next product to give them? How do I know what customer recommendations can I make next? Why did that customer churn? How do I reach new people? How do I do drug discovery? How do I give a patient a better prescription? How do I pinpoint disease than when I couldn't have seen it before? Now we have all that data that's available, and it's very rich. And data is a team sport. It takes data scientists, it takes business leaders, and it takes IT to make it all work together. And together, the two companies are really working to solve problems that our customers are facing, working with our customers, because they have the intellectual knowledge of what their problems are. We are providing the tools to help them solve those problems.
Fantastic conversation about what is necessary to ensure that the data science practitioner remains at the center and is the ultimate test of whether or not these systems and these capabilities are working for business. Nanda Vijaydev, Chief Data Scientist of Blue Data, Ingrid Burton, CMO and Business Leader, H2O.ai. Thank you very much for being on theCUBE.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate this.
So let's now spend some time talking about how ultimately all of this comes together and what you're going to do as you participate in the crowd chat. To do that, let me throw it back to Dave Vellante in our Marlborough studios.
We're back with Patrick Osborne. All right, Patrick, let's wrap up here and summarize. We heard how you're going to help data science teams, right?
Yep. Speed, agility, time to value.
All right, and I know a bunch of folks at Blue Data. The tech is, the engineering team is very, very strong. So you picked up a good asset there.
Yeah, it's amazing technology. The founders have a long lineage of software development and adoption in the market. So we're gonna invest in them and let them loose.
And then we heard the sort of better together story from you. You got a roadmap. You're making some investments here. It's clear.
Yeah, I mean, so we're really focused on hybrid cloud, and we want to have all these as a services experience, whether it's through GreenLake or providing innovation, AI, GPUs as a service is something that we're going to be continuing to provide our customers as we move along.
Okay, and then we heard the data science angle and the data science community and the partner angle. That's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's two approaches as well too. We have data scientists, right? So we're going to bring that capability to bear, whether it's through the product experience or through our professional services organization. And then number two, this is a very dynamic ecosystem from an application standpoint. There's commercial applications, there's certainly open source, and we're going to bring a fully vetted, full stack experience for our customers that they can feel confident in this. It's a very dynamic space.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, now it's your turn. Go into the crowd chat and start talking. Ask questions. We're going to have polls. We've got experts in there. So let's crowd chat.